Okay, so this is Larissa, one of my favorite clients to work with. And, she has gone when I think when we started working together, she was doing about 7 to 8K a month. And then within the next 30 days, she hit her first 20K cash collected month. And really, I'll let Larissa take the floor, tell you guys what she does, etc.
Yeah, awesome. So I started back in January in the whole online digital marketing space, and I was only making $2,000 to $3,000 a month. And I knew there had to be a better way. There was just a lot of time I was spending on talking to new people and building connections and all that. But then in April, I shifted into more of a high ticket online coaching space. And that has been absolutely amazing working with other digital marketers who really want to scale their business. But I started working with Max back in, gosh, I don't know, it's been about 2 months now. And before I was working with him, like I said, I was making 2 to 3K a month. I think I hit around a 7K a month, but I've been consistently bringing in 10 to 20K a month, hit my first 20K cash month. Super excited to start hitting 30K cash months. But essentially, what I do is I work with other digital marketers to help them build out an amazing offer, help them get traffic to it, and sell it on repeat.
Okay, awesome. And I mean, kind of how was it before we started working together? What were you doing? What systems were you using?
Yeah. So before we started working together, as far as systems, I mean, I basically just had a stand store and that was about it. And I was doing a lot of stuff manually, like I said, just building a lot of connections, which is important regardless, right? But I was just spending so many hours doing stuff in my business that like I could have been doing other stuff instead that could have actually been bringing me in money and having those conversations that would allow me to get to my next goal. So honestly, I was just spending a lot of time on things that I didn't really want to do.
Okay. So you felt like you were just putting in so much output and there just wasn't that much input for what you were doing.
Yeah, especially for the results that I wanted to hit. Like I knew that I
Okay.
wanted to hit 20, 30K months.
You have
And
good
in
goals.
order, yeah. And in order to do that, I really had to find ways to cut down my time and like make me more efficient. Work smarter, not harder, right? That's what we live by. But yeah, just find better ways to
For sure.
trim, that time in my business.
For sure. And Larissa, be as open as you can. What has working with me, how has that helped or what's it been like?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you have been awesome because yes, your service is amazing, absolutely amazing. But the other best part about it that people don't always talk about is just the communication and the connection, like being able to communicate with you. Hey, let's try this, let's do this. And you've been super open and willing to kind of like go with my ideas. That's something I really appreciate because a lot of times when you work with somebody, the communication isn't always there. There are things lacking. But I found that you kind of have hit the nail on the head, if that's the saying, with every piece of the business. Like, you're great at what you do, but you're also very personable, easy to communicate with,
Thank you.
and just, yeah, like very willing to work with me. And I appreciate that.
Well, for sure. That makes me happy that, right, obviously the relationship is what matters the most to you. That's what I'm happy about. What was the system great to put you in the position to where you felt like you could put output into things more effectively and actually get clients from that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been able to really spend my time doing the things that, like I said, are going to bring me in money, right? Which
For
for
sure.
me are primarily sales calls, right? Those sorts of things. So yeah, 100%. I've been able to take my hands off of things that I was spending way too much time on that I didn't want to do to actually doing the things that bring me in money.
For sure, right? Because you can be doing a million cold DMs every day. You can be doing a million touches every day, but it's not with the right people. If it's not the right message and you don't have the right framing for your account, it's not going to matter, right?
Yeah,
So I feel like we
100%.
really focus on dialing that in, especially when you're interacting with thousands of people in your target niche every single day. It's like, okay, well, that's great. The volume's there, but we need to make sure that with all that output is going to come input for you automatically so that you can obviously be yourself on a sales call. People love you. So when you get them on a call, usually they buy.
Yep,
um,
yep, exactly.
I feel like with you, I want to ask, because this is what I've seen working with you. I feel like your business is flowing so much more than it was before. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, with any business, there's growing pains, right? So I think with that, it's like it's flowing as I grow, as I scale, as I figure out the things that need to be tweaked. And what I'm so grateful is I have this stability as all the other pieces around it kind of come
For sure.
together because like after I started working with you, I brought on, another member of my team. I brought on another service. And so being able to like navigate all of that and manage, all of these
For
team
sure.
members and then working with you has been really great. And although it's not been, like 1,000% smooth sailing, no businesses,
No.
but it has definitely taken stress off of my life so I can focus on scaling the business, bringing in the people that I need and just like making sure everything's flowing as best as it possibly can be.
And I mean, with all that, right, the flow and your business performing at a higher rate than it ever has, like how has that really affected you, one in business and two, more importantly, in life?
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing because before doing this, I mean, I was a nanny making like crap money. I don't know, $4,000 a month, babysitting a lot on the side. And it's like, oh snap, I can bring in more than double. I mean, way more than that, but like double that, let's just say, with so much
Yeah,
less
for
work
sure.
and being able to do it from home, which is amazing. So it's been really incredible because I really, like you, really value entrepreneurship. I really value freedom, right? And you just came back from Europe. I was just in Europe right before you. Like being able to know that your business is running while you're working is amazing, right? Being able to travel the world, do the things you love,
For sure.
being able to, spend $200 at Trader Joe's and like it's cool. That's just life
The
changing.
simple things,
Yeah, for sure.
groceries. Awesome. Okay, so I mean, obviously you're so dedicated. You work all the time, and I tell you, I always tell you take a step back because sometimes you can see more with that. But do you feel like you're
Yeah.
more free? I know you work so much because you love it, but do you feel like if you wanted to, you're way more free than you've ever been?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, I was in Europe for 9 days and I was very hands off and it was all good because I was taken care of,
Sure.
right? And so, same thing here is knowing that I'm taken care of
Yeah.
because I have this business model that like allows me to live that life that we just talked about. So yeah, freedom absolutely and I'm
Good.
just excited for what that's going to look like in the years to come.
Awesome. And I mean, this is a big question for me, but answer it as honestly as you can. What would you say to someone who's like on the edge of working with me or is just considering it? What would you tell them?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, this is like the easiest yes I've ever made. And I'm not just saying that because when we connected and I actually heard about your services through other people that have worked with you and they were all, saying great things about you. And then I
Thank you.
saw it for myself and it's the easiest yes and you also offer a service that's quite different than a lot of people. So I think that's really neat is it's like, okay, this is an area of my business that I need help in
Yeah.
that you can help me in that a lot of people don't necessarily help with that. And so for me, it just was a no-brainer, right? And I just love it. It's amazing.
Thank you. And well, what makes it a no-brainer and what gives me such good client results is the people I work with, right? I don't work with everybody. I mean, obviously on the first call, it's like, oh my gosh, she works her butt off and she's smart, right? So I really only work with smart and hardworking people. And so it makes my life a lot easier. But you're so, smart that you were like, okay, I'm investing in myself and this is a big decision now. But
Hmm.
in a month, and you didn't know, right? Because when you make a big decision in business, it's like it's always a risk. And you didn't know at the time, but you're like,
Yeah.
this would pay off if I put the work in. You put the work in and it paid off. And so that's why investing in yourself is so important. I think you're a really great example of that. Um, and those people who don't make as much money are always going to be nervous to take the next step to invest because they don't understand how important it is, right? Because all the millionaires and billionaires, like they took so much risk. And
Hmm.
meanwhile, people sit here and they're like, I don't know, should I invest in myself? Of course. It either pays off and it's a good decision, or it doesn't, and you learned so much. And it's always just important. I think you do that really well because every time we talk, it's like, oh, I'm doing this new, and we're going to see if it works. Sometimes it works really well for you, and sometimes it doesn't. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've only grown from it. So it just makes me happy. Um,
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And that's the thing about investing. I personally don't understand people who don't want to invest in the business. Now, yes, do you have to make wise decisions?
yeah,
Absolutely. But to me, it's an absolute no-brainer if
for
something
sure.
makes sense, because how in the world are you going to get out of the situation that you're currently in? I talk to so
Yep,
many people and they're in the same situation, but they're not willing to do anything about it. And that to me is, it's actually really sad, because there's so many opportunities out there for you to be able to fix your problem if you're just willing to take the next step. And as a business owner, if you really value your business and you see this as a long-term thing,
for sure.
you have to do that in multiple areas of your business. And so I've stepped out, I've invested in coaches, I've invested in services like yours. I've invested in team members. Like I've invested in every area of my business, and I certainly wouldn't be where I'm at now if I didn't do that.
Thank you. Um, and I was going to ask what advice you'd give to someone who's just in general in business, but I think that's a perfect piece of advice. Right? I think that anyone
Yeah.
who is new into business and hasn't hit their goal yet, it needs to hear that. And coming from you, I think that's great. So I was going to ask that, but I think you just did it. You hit the nail on the head to use
Yeah.
employees for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Is there any other, advice that you'd give anyone who's starting out in business, who's just looking to make a name for themselves?
Yeah. Sorry. I just had, okay. Sorry about that. I just
You're
had a
good.
little pop up here. Okay. Your question was, would I give
Yeah,
anybody
any
else
piece
any
of
more
advice.
advice?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. So I guess just piggybacking off what I said would be, use wisdom in your investments, but don't be afraid,
sure.
because if your gut is telling you like I should do this, but there's a little bit of fear in it, you need to just have a conversation with that fear and be like, okay, what's the worst case scenario, right? And
For
I had
sure.
to do that in my business recently, where I had this honest conversation with myself and I was like, no, I'm $1 million business owner, and that's who I know I'm meant to be. Like, I'm going to step into that identity. I'm going to take action. I'm going to refine the things I need to refine, take consistent action, but I'm actually going to move forward and like know
Yeah,
that this is who I'm meant to be in my business. And so that's why I take action. That's why I take the steps every single day that I need to. I use
for
wisdom in
sure.
it, absolutely, but I'm not afraid, because fear is not going to be a part of my business, right? So my overall advice is like, just take action. If you know you're called to have a six-figure business, hopefully $1 million business, but if you know you're called to be that person, step into that and take action. You just have to.
For sure. For sure. Larissa, I mean, I don't think, I think people who watch this video got way more out of it than they thought they would because that's good advice. And I wish I had that when I
Amazing.
was starting. Um,
Yeah.
so whoever watched this video, you're welcome. So, Larissa, say you're welcome. You said it, not me. Um, but yeah,
Yes,
thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to do this. I know you didn't have to, and I really appreciate it.
of
Um,
course.
and yeah, is there any last words you'd like to say, anyone who's watching?
Basically, I don't know, Max is the best. That's about all I got.
Thank you so much, Larissa.